What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video here on Footy Talks. Barcelona have just been involved in a 10-goal thriller with FC Seoul. The match between FC Seoul and Barcelona ended 7-3 in favor of Barcelona. There is going to be a lot to go over for sure in this match. I know I usually don't say that there's not a lot to go over, in these preseason matches, but in this one, there is going to be a lot to go over, which is including the goals, 10 different goals. So that's going to be something to look into. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. I've been up since 4 in the morning, so yeah. So tired. Okay, let's go. So, like Vissel Kobe, Barca did do two different lineups. One of them was in the first half and one of them was in the second half. We're going to go by each half as there is a lot to cover in both halves. So starting off in the first half, Barca did field a pretty strong lineup. This lineup, honestly, it is a Champions League worthy lineup that they did field out. And they really did have to field this lineup out because I didn't know it. But as I was watching the match, the GOAT, Jesse Lingard, plays in FC Seoul. If you don't know who Jesse Lingard is, you don't know ball. Sorry to say. Go search him up, watch some highlights. You'll know. But yeah, anyways, Barca did field that pretty strong lineup. And with that strong lineup, Barca did start off pretty strong. They ended up scoring 2 goals within the first 20 minutes. Now, I do have to admit, both of the first 2 goals were a little bit scrappier in their own sense. The first goal did come from Lewandowski, with it coming from a counterattack. The ball was recovered in the midfield, and admittedly, the referee did impede the FC Seoul player, causing the ball to be lost in the midfield, but that led to Barca counterattacking with a 4v2. Dani Olmo passed the ball to Lamine, but Lamine's shot hit the post and then deflected perfectly into Lewandowski's path, and he just tapped it right in. So that was the first goal right there. And then Lamine's goal, which was the second goal, he did try to do a little fancy pass, but luckily the ball deflected back to him and he just rifled a shot to the goalie's near post. So that was the first 2 goals in the 20 minutes. However, it wasn't all perfect for Barca, as there was a few lapses in concentration. Now, I do have to admit, the first goal that FC Seoul did make was kind of scrappy and kind of bullshit. Like Barca's goal, the one where the referee impeded him. This one was a little bit controversial as well, for, just kind of nonsense. But the FC Seoul player was coming from an offside position and made a run inside and beat Araujo to the ball and scored a banger. When I saw that goal, I do have to be honest, it just reminded me of the goal from the second leg with Inter in the semifinal of the Champions League, the Acerbi goal. If you don't know what goal that is, I will go and search it up just so you can see it. But for those of you guys that know, no. I was kind of traumatized for a second, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of pissed off at Araujo for that, because it did remind me of that. But then again, I do have to remember that it is a friendly. So we could chill. It's a friendly, but it was a lapse of concentration right there. Somewhat understandable, as the backline thought that it would be marked offsides, but it wasn't. But still, those are just little things that you gotta look out for. There's not much Joan Garcia could have done, really, in my opinion. But yeah, that goal happened. And then things started to get a little bit more hectic for Barca, as FC Seoul, they breached Barca's high line with a simple through ball, and they had the FC Seoul player in on goal, and The FC Seoul player dispatched that goal perfectly. Nothing that Joan Garcia could do. And at that moment, it was 2-2. And then it's just like, wow, Barca's really tight against, FC Seoul. But Barca, before the halftime ended, they did score their third goal. It came from Lamine Yamal. Olmo did thread a nice through ball into Lamine Yamal's pass, and Lamine just cut the ball in and took his shot. Now, as for Dani Olmo, I do have to say that he had a mid-game. Honestly, that assist to Lamine Yamal did kind of save him, but other than that, he was having quite a few loose touches in the match. He didn't even miss a clear chance in on goal. But that assist that he gave to Lamine Yamal did kind of give him somewhat of a better rating, I would say. But I think he did okay. It's just still about, these matches getting match sharpness back and cutting out those little mistakes. So hopefully they don't continue. But we'll have to see. And Lamine, I would say the same. I think he had a good game. He did score the 2 goals, but there were times where he was just trying to force the ball a bit too much. And I get it, he's young, he's trying to try things, which is good. But it's just, when they don't come out, they don't really come out. So that was the first half right there. Now let's go ahead and go into the second half. As expected, Barca did make changes in the second half. And it was a change to the whole lineup like we did see against Vissel Kobe. They changed the whole starting 11 to a different 11. And the 11 that did come out was this 11. And yes, I'm going to leave it on display for a few seconds just so you guys can see it and believe it for yourselves. Gerard Martin was starting as a center back. I swear when I saw this, I was like, oh my god. Like, I don't get what Hansi Flick sees in Gerard Martin, honestly. Like, he's a Barca player. Hopefully he does good and everything like that. For our sake, for the club's sake, and so forth. But I just don't get what Hansi Flick sees in Gerard Martin. I'm fully convinced that Gerard Martin has Hansi Flick's nudes. Because, to leave Inigo Martinez and Eric Garcia on the bench for Gerard Martin, like, is Gerard Martin a better defender than them? Does he have better ball playing abilities? Like, what is it that Hansi Flick sees in Gerard Martin? I really don't know. Honestly, when I see Gerard Martin, I do think of Marcos Alonso when he was playing with us. Honestly, it's just one of those players that just isn't Barca quality, as simple as I could say. But, Hansi Flick, he does know better. He is the coach of Barca, so we do have to trust in him. But I seriously just don't understand what he sees in the Gerard Martin, in all honesty. But anyways, moving on to the second half. So the second half did start off a lot slower than the first half. It did start off with Barca just dominating the ball, passing it around, and so forth. But then the goals were going to start to come, as, we could tell from the score. The first half ended 3-2, and then the fourth goal for Barca came from Christensen. Christensen was given like 30 to 35 yards of space to rifle in the shots to the keeper's far post, and it was a pretty good goal in general. It was a goal that did come out of nothing, to be honest, but that ended up being Barca's fourth goal. And Barca did keep scoring from there. Ferran Torres, he did end up getting a goal that was assisted from Jofre Torrens. who we'll get onto in a second. But Ferran Torres, he gets a ball threaded from Jofre Torrens. Ferran cuts in and shoots a goal. 2 to 3 minutes after that, Gavi did end up getting a goal. The ball was passed from Gerard Martin to Gavi, and Gavi does a really nice turn and shoots in on own goal. And before you know it, the score goes from 3-2 to 6-2. And this was around the 78th minute or so. After Gavi's goal, there were a few changes that were made. Gavi was taken out in place of a La Masia player, Gule Fernandez, and Rooney, who was pretty quiet in this match. In all honesty, I didn't really see too much of him in this match. Rooney was taken out, and Tony Fernandez came in. Now, as for Gule Fernandez, the player that came in for Gavi, I didn't really get to see too much of him. I just feel like he didn't get too much touches on the ball or wasn't involved enough for me to see too much of him. But Tony Fernandez, when he did come in, he actually did have a few chances on goal. It is good to see him again, because I remember during La Liga, during the regular season, he did get to start in the match once. I think it was La Liga or La Copa del Rey, if I'm not mistaken. But he got to start a match once. And then in that match, he got to dislocate his shoulder, and we weren't able to see him again. But it is good to see him back in action. So we did get a cameo from 2 more La Masia players that were brought on the preseason tour. So that was good to see. But FC Seoul, they still weren't out of the match. FC Seoul, again, they did breach Barca's high line with a simple through ball, leaving an FC Seoul player in their own goal. And FC Seoul got their 3rd goal, making the score 6-3. However, Barca did end off the match in good fashion. Ferran Torres got a brace, a 2nd goal, which was assisted from Rashford. And Rashford, I do think he's still trying to find his footing, trying to find his fitness, in this team. So hopefully Rashford and Rooney do just keep improving little by little. But Rashford assisted Ferran's 2nd goal and Barca's 7th goal. And then from there, you just had the match and 7-3. So it was a lot of goals for sure. It was quite an interesting match to see. Again, from seeing how these Barca players do continue to get their match sharpness back and how they gel together. I mean, most of them already do know each other, but basically just continue to get back their chemistry and so forth. So it was good to see that from Barca. And I'm glad we got to see more of the new signings like Rashford, Rooney, and Joan Garcia. Just hopefully that they could keep improving and getting better and more used to playing with Barca. And it was good to see those cameos from La Masia players, like Gule Fernandez, Tony Fernandez. And also, it was really good to see Jofre Torrens again. Like I did say, I do want to see more of him in the left back position. I do think that he does have potential to be Valdez's backup instead of Gerard Martin. And as for Gerard Martin, it's just crazy, to see him as center back and so forth. I don't know. I'm not trying to have an agenda against him or anything, but that's just crazy. But I am pretty bummed out that we didn't get a chance to see Marc Bernal. Marc Bernal, he wasn't on the bench. He didn't start the match. He wasn't anywhere near the squad at all. Now, there are rumors saying that he is being taken care of by Hansi Flick and the medical staff, just so he's not rushed back into things. He should be back for the Johan Gamper Trophy, if not for the beginning of the season. But he is one of the players that I do want to see in this Barca team. specifically in that midfield, because like I did mention, he has a different profile compared to the other midfielders that we do have. So hopefully we do get to see him soon. But he just wasn't involved in this match. Now Barca does have one more match in this Asia tour. They are still going to be in South Korea, so I am going to go ahead and try to bring you guys that match preview, match review as well, and build up towards that. So just be on the lookout for that. And yeah, that about covers everything right here for this match, this 10-goal thriller. I do appreciate you guys for tuning into this match review. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Your support really does mean a lot to me and does go a long way and pushes me to keep this content going. So if you guys will excuse me, and without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm gonna go to sleep because, man, I'm tired. The match started at 4 in the morning here, and I think over there, what time is it over there? In Seoul, South Korea. So right now in South Korea, it's 11:15 p.m. and over there towards Europe and so forth, it's the afternoon, so it's around 3:15 p.m., 4:15 p.m. So it's 9 hours ahead in Europe, and then 16 hours ahead in South Korea. That's crazy. But anyways, I'll let you guys go. That was just a little rant. But until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.